Hey Lawn Care Nation, in this video we're going to talk about how to handle calls from outside of your service area. Coming up. So hey Lawn Care Nation, in this video we're going to talk about how to handle calls that come from outside of your service area. Now before I do, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you click that notification bell so that you're notified right away when I make videos like this that have the potential to make your business grow. Okay, so this video is inspired by a question that I received from a follower on Instagram, and that question is, hello, I have a question. I started a lawn care business. I just got my first call about coming over to do a quote, but the person lives an hour away from the area I serve. How do I handle it? Well, in a nutshell, basically you just respond back to them and say thank you for your interest in my company. Insert your company name there, and just say that unfortunately at this time we currently do not service that area, or your address falls outside of our service area. Something along the lines of that. Just short and sweet, and just keep it to the point there. So obviously for a lawn care business, this can be a difficult conundrum to be in, especially if you're just starting out your business and you're eager to do work, you're eager to have that phone start ringing, and if those calls are coming in and they're for outside of your area, especially an hour outside of your area, it can be a little bit disheartening to say the least. But you have to remember that you're in the business, you're starting the business to make a profit. And for something like a lawn care job, to have to drive out all the way out an hour just to do the quote, if you were to land that job, you'd be driving all the way out an hour just to service that single property and having to come back. And it's very unlikely that even if you added up all your costs and you figured in the amount of drive time, once you presented that quote, it's very unlikely that you would get that job when they can just hire somebody a lot closer to them, more locally, that will be able to compete a lot more aggressively on price without having to deal with that 2 hours of drive time just to complete that job. So, in lawn care, it can be, pretty cut and dry with those types of jobs. If you're talking about in the landscaping sort of side of things, like hardscaping, paved stones and patios, concrete work, things like that, or full, say, lawn redos or garden redos where you're doing all the plants and landscaping and all that stuff, then, that kind of is more of a gray area, whether or not you want to take on a job like that to go and do, because it's a lot bigger money, and you can figure into your costs all of that travel time. But for lawn care, I would say the only exception to this would be if you plan on servicing that area. If that area is, a very maybe affluent area that you see, a lot of homes take care of their lawns, they have irrigation systems and that sort of thing, and you may want to target that area, then, those are the only sort of times where you would want to potentially then go and quote that job. And, it always just takes that first property to get out there into that neighborhood and be seen. So there is always risk involved with that sort of plan of servicing an area farther away. Because you'll have to, break into that neighborhood, and you'll have to do that by offering a competitive price and sort of eating that travel cost on those first few lawns just to get yourself seen in that neighborhood. And then hopefully, as you are working in that neighborhood, your trailers, your branding will become more visible, and you'll start to generate more of a buzz and get more clients in that specific neighborhood, which will then, start to, pay the costs of that travel time. But generally, I would say, especially for something that's even an hour away, that it really isn't worth servicing those types of properties. and that if you look a lot closer and you really look around, you'll see as you start to gain experience in the lawn care industry that the work really is abundant, that there is just so many lawns everywhere that you look. This was the case with me in my own business when I first started. 14 years ago, I was with a franchise company. I was driving around all over the city to do a couple lawns here, do a couple lawns there, and I was spending so much time and so much fuel just driving around. And when I ultimately left that franchise company and started my own brand, I decided to focus in on one specific community in the city that I live in. And in fact, I named my whole lawn care company after that community, just to focus in even more and just to let people know exactly the area that I service and what type of service I provide. So it just made it a lot easier, and I found that I started to pick up customers really, really quickly when focusing in on that specific area, because your trailers become way more visible if the customer sees it in that specific area all of the time, versus maybe only for one job 1 week on this street, and then across town you're in a completely different area. So I would just say, handle those calls politely. Just thank them for their interest in your company, and just politely let them know that they're outside of that service area. So that's it for this one, guys. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing. Leave a comment down below and let me know how you handle calls that come from outside of your service area. So if you like this type of how to start a lawn care business type video, I'll leave another one for you to watch up here in this corner, or I'll leave one of my other videos for you to watch up here in this corner. So that's it for this one, guys. Here's to wishing you guys all overwhelming success and freedom in your lawn care business. Bye for now.